Who's ready? Who's ready? Who's ready for some boom, baby? Boom! Rise. Rise, King Ramus. Congratulations.
For what?
You're getting married.
Ah,
For what?
not a big deal.
Not a big thing. You've never been married in your life, my guy. This guy, you can't steal his shine. Nobody can steal your shine, buddy. Nobody can steal your shine. Oh, wow. So beautiful. Ihana. Ihana. Bro, it was raining yesterday. I had to do the pull-ups in the rain. Yeah, couldn't even hold the bar. It was covered in water. And I started doing the pull-ups even in the cold.
Yes.
You're more than welcome to come with me.
Too late.
Too lazy for that. Okay, no worries. I don't want to stop your shine. Yeah. But you're okay?
I'm okay. Maybe someday we will go to Europe by car.
You're going to go to Denmark by chance?
No, not there.
You're going to go through?
Go like that, Switzerland.
You're going to drive down?
Yeah.
But you have to take the Viking line over.
No. I go first to Tallinn.
Tallinn?
Yeah.
Oh, but you still have to take the Viking line to Tallinn.
Yeah.
I've done that before for my 30th birthday.
Yeah.
All right. And when's this happening? Next week.
Big Sunday.
See, it's not even next week. It's a couple days. Can't stop my shine. All right, bro. Well, let me know.
Yes.
You're on the road trip.
Yeah.
Getting the band back together.
Yeah, we take 2 mattresses in car just in case.
Okay.
It does not find a hotel.
Dude, you could sleep in the back. Fuck it. Why not?
Why not?
Why fucking not, bro? You'll hear that a lot in Thailand. Why not? Why not? Chigata, man. Chigata. I think I want to fucking look at that beautiful sunrise this morning, bro. The Simpsons. Oh, yes. The amount of blessed I have in my life is incalculable. I almost cried yesterday. So one of my clients had reached out and said, "Hey, Saint, how you doing, brother?" And I knew they needed t-shirts. And I'm just like, I could be down to my last 20, 40 bucks or no money at all. And this business provides. It literally enhances my life. And I never would have thought I'd find a bank or a gold mine or something that I could rely upon for steady income. And here I am, walking my path, you know what I mean, in my Thailand Thailand sandals. I got my sandals, shorts, shirt, and sunglasses. That's all about Saint Slides, Saint Shoes, Saint all of it, dude. Saint Shades, Saint Shirts, Saint Shorts. And I get to wear it all here in the morning because I love my life. Look, the lady looked at it. She looked at me. She's like, "What just happened? Somebody loves their life. Woo! Good morning." So, at least somebody waved. One person just looked at me crazy, but the other person can't stop my shine. And I'm having this conversation with you this morning time is because that's what it feels like. It feels like someone's trying to steal your shine. Like I got up this morning and he's getting married last night. They knocked on my door twice. And, I don't want to steal his shine, It's his first time getting married. He's lonely, she's lonely, and they want to do a transaction, like travel to Europe, Switzerland, Spain. You just heard it from him in a couple of days. It's a crazy call. And I'm going to tell you why. It's because Thai women steal your businesses. They'll steal your life. And I've known this to happen from multiple guys. British men, Englishmen. Well, first of all, American, British, and Australian tend to always marry Thai women because they're subversive, but they're not docile. And this is what's so hard about addiction is that I'm literally you're going to perceive that I'm going to take away your cigarette, your joint, or your happy. And I promise you, it feels that way. So when they say that getting sober is giving up one thing for a lot of things, they're not lying. Let me get this thing cleared up for you. You give up one thing for everything. And then we give up everything for one thing, in addiction. And this is the thing, is like, you're going to perceive it as your ultimate happy, and you're going to fight against it, because who wants to take away my candy? Who wants to take away my lollipop? Who wants to take away from my shine? That's what it's going to feel like. But I have news for you. I really want to get high, really high. And my real high isn't from outside shine. It isn't from someone else loving me. It isn't from a gregarious situation where I just go over the top like I wanted to when I got married. I wanted to go to the Bangkok Towers, and I wanted to, plastic pocket challenge, and I wanted to, propose and do all these things, and I could barely get the girl to the building. You know what I mean? And this is the facts. You know what I mean? This is the facts, Jack. Sure, she was hot, and sure, she said yes, but she was a whole ass problem the whole way through. We were arguing on the way, and she left me in the hotel room with the door open. Like, you know what I mean? Cream pies to goodbyes real fucking quick. And this is our lives, right? Our lives are like this, Our lives are in front of us, teasing us with things that are, seemingly helpful, right? Like, this is going to alleviate my loneliness. Alcohol is only going to make you feel lonelier. And as I watch more sober videos, people talking about how, they isolate themselves, and they don't reach out. They feel like shit. They don't want to talk to the next person. Hey, you're calling me hungover, so I won't answer the phone. I've been sleeping all day. And then when I wake up, all my friends are out playing, and I have no one to talk to. I have no one to rely upon. And that's what this feels like, right? It feels like you are taking candy from a baby. You know what I mean? Like you need to put my lollipop. You know what I mean? Like, you're going to literally cry like a little bitch, because that's what it's going to feel like. I don't want to stop his happiness. I don't want to inform him that he just picked up a lady boy from Thailand that got the tit job, and that she's going to take his money and business eventually. He don't want to hear that. He wants to feel unlonely. He wants to feel happy. And that's why I was having this conversation this morning. Look how beautiful this is. Look how absolutely gorgeous this is. Then I don't want to steal somebody's shine. It's really hard when you're trying to get over a heartache. So you already supplemented alcohol for the heartache, and now somebody's going to try to take away your alcohol. You're going to have more heartache. You're just going to feel like a direct path to hell. But here's what they don't tell you. And just like I was seeing with the girl, and she said this, she said, they don't tell you that it's going to feel like you're dying. The transformation of actualization, you're going to have to lean on those things. I'm watching a lot of sober videos, but it's true. Now, when you don't run from things that you do, and you don't run from your head, and you sat still enough for 30 minutes, 1 hour, which most people have never done in their life, just to have a real conversation with themselves, without running for food, without running to sex, and without running to a distraction, what do you have left? And that's what the boxer was saying, because if that's what you've always run to, right? You've always ran to an external source, the alcohol, the drugs, the smoke, and like, I need that cigarette. I need those drugs. You're looping. You're looping the addiction loop. And there is no stopping you, because it's going to feel like someone's taking something away from you. It's going to feel like someone's trying to steal your shine. And in that, you're going to feel like, the opposite of, I love my life. The opposite of me loving my life and hearing my echo and screaming in the fucking backyard in my fucking clothes, that's my highest to high. That's the sun on my shine. It's literally coming through the clouds, and I can feel it. That's the highest to high. You can't take away my shine. You can't stop my shine, because this comes from the inside. I got summer on the inside. Don't. And when you have that, it's hard to take away from it. But if it's an external source, it's easy to take it away from you. Cut you off at the bar, run out of money, not do certain things. All of those things will be taken from you, and you'll be irritated. You'll be like, why are you taking my shine? Why aren't you saying positive things? Why are you always fucking coming down on me? And it's because you haven't gone to the dark side. You haven't done the hard work. That's the I'm dying inside, because it's going to feel that way, because now you don't have anything to rely on, right? There's no more crutches for the cigarettes or the bar or the bad relationships. And I think we all know that, you know what I mean? We try to placate ourselves. We try to actually stop ourselves from feeling bad, but we choose a bad path to get to that feeling. And that's what I meant. You can't stop my shine, because my shine comes from natural sources. Let's go. Bless up. Listen. So if I rely for my happiness on an external source, I can be cut off, just like a bar, 86th. Like my friend said, I can't go to that bar. I haven't been there in 6 months. Yeah, they're not going to allow you in because you've been a dick. You've been starting fights, and you've been throwing up, and you've been causing a ruckus, and now you're not invited back. You've been 86th. And that's what it needs to be like. You need to 86 some of your friends. You need to 86 some of your habits. And you need to 86 anything that isn't the truest high. Anything that doesn't last. This is a lasting happiness is what I want people to have. I want them to be really high. I don't want them to find some fake ass happy and it wears off, like cocaine, like alcohol, like a relationship. It's hard to quit those things. Try quitting the person that you're already making love to, but they're bad for you, and they keep sleeping around on you, giving you diseases, or giving you a bad time, or always harassing you. Yeah, that's cyclical. Is be surprised when I was talking to one of my friends. It's like we are so habitual that we'll date somebody that's familiar. We'll date our parents. It's like dating your mother. Do you want to really date your mother? You'd be surprised, bro. I was surprised. I was shocked. I needed a woman that was mediocre, wasn't enough, and would push me. And then I would go out of my way to go fix her. And the next thing you know, I'm fixing her instead of her fixing her. That was a shock to me, bro. That's a level up. And the level up, just like your boy David Goggins said, he said, keep it up. Keep talking. He said, keep talking. Oh, how you going to do it without no knee? Keep talking. How you going to do it when it's cold outside? Keep talking, because that's where it's at. Everybody else is going to give themselves the same slack, the same excuse, the same, my knee hurts. It's cold outside. My pussy's bleeding. Guess what, bro? I got news for you, son. That's all excuses. And that's not a David Goggins thing. That's not a Mark Saint thing. For people that give themselves an outward exit out their brain, or exit out their frame, or exit out of their situation, they're just like a rat scurrying off of a boat, bro. Everybody's gonna run and try to save themselves. You know what I mean? Like this is what it is. It's a sinking boat, and rats are trying to get off the ship. I don't want to be a rat. I want to be a fish. I want to be a bird. I want to be something that can adapt to the environment and survive and thrive. And that's the difference. Is if you're going to have, again, drilling holes in your own canoe, if you're going to find a way to always exit the situation or run and hide from your awareness, you're never going to find it. It took me a while to find true happiness. It took me a while to be sober and actually let it kick in. It has to take time and maturation for this transformation to take in and follow through on the process. That's what Mike Tyson was saying. I was finishing the process. When he went in his last boxing, you got to complete the process. And most of us, we don't want to complete a process. We don't want to have any kind of functionality whatsoever in ourselves. We want external sources to fix the topic. And they kind of do. This is why they're addictive. If you really want to be pain-free, that's what alcohol used to be. Swallow some whiskey, get in a dental chair, and they'll take your teeth. But if you want to really, really go see a dentist, then you would really see a doctor of someone that can prescribe medicine to you and inject the spot so that way it's not so painful. That's the real process, and some of us want to skip that process. We want to skip the doctors, we want to skip the dentist, and we want to skip self-actualization. You can't skip this. This is part of the transformation. Part of the transformation is to change something so something changes. Most of us don't want to change anything. We want it to change around us. We want to wish it, pray it, or hope it. Wish, prayer, and a hope. Hope, wish, and a prayer. And that's not what it is. Is that a butterfly? No way. It's a bumblebee. Look, it's a beautiful bumblebee in the tree. Let me get out of the way of the sun. There it is. Look at it. It's getting all the flowers. Look how beautiful that is. You see it? It's just chilling in there. And that's the way to happiness. Working on yourself. And it's not going to be easy, because you know how stubborn you are. yourself, are these fake happies worth the real happy? That's the math. And if your math ain't mathing, it won't add. It won't add up. And you'll be like, I'm missing something. I'm missing out on all my friends hanging out at the bars. I'm missing being social. I'm missing being unlonely. And it's like all these things are trigger alerts. You know, it's a trigger alert when you bump into your ex at the bar. It's a trigger alert when you're in your car drinking and the cops roll by. It's a trigger alert when you haven't brushed your teeth for 4 days or taken a shower and still wearing dirty clothes. All those are trigger alerts. But all that is a form of depression. All of that is a loss. And that's not taking a loss like a boss. That's taking a loss like a loser. To double down on something that's already lost and then hurt yourself because it's happening, bro. Come on, man. Come on, man. That don't make no fucking sense. Why would you be the captain of your ship and put a hole in the bottom? You know, why would you be the type of person to dig your own grave? You know, we have these phrases because that's what it looks like. It looks like a person that's hurting themselves instead of helping themselves. And this is what Saints Addiction is all about. Not hurting myself, alleviating the pain, alleviating the depression, and walking away for things that don't work for me. And that's what it was. That's what it was. I was like, this don't work no more. Fucking random girls, it don't work no more. They don't love me. They start destroying my property or keying my car or writing lipstick on the window or spitting on the keyhole. It's all happened. You know what I mean? Or leaving me in a hotel or breaking up with me after my birthday or breaking up with me before Christmas. Man, it's all these things. And don't make me sound like a victim. Maybe they needed to get away. Yeah, give me that sunshine, bitch. Maybe they needed to get away. Maybe you need to get away. Get away from talking too much. Or get away from drinking too much. And it's gonna feel like I'm still in your happiness, but I'm also giving you real happy. So it's like I have to take the candy away from the baby, but I also have to feed the baby vegetables, bro, just for it to grow healthy. You know, the minerals, man, you know what I mean? The vitamins. We need those things. This is part of our human existence. I was watching the monkeys last night, and part of them have to get protein. 20% protein in the leaves of a mango tree. I didn't know that, but it also has toxins. So these smart monkeys actually went over and chewed on charcoal. Humans have been using charcoal as an absorber for toxins, I don't know, since the beginning of time, but since we can remember, but that's a learned lesson for these monkeys. No other monkeys are going over there chewing on charcoal to make sure their tummies don't hurt. And there we are, especially when you're trying to take some pills. They'll pump your whole stomach full of charcoal and you'll find out how unhappy you were. You thought the pills were going to stop the pain. Now they're throwing a fucking tube down your throat and you can feel all the pain. You're going to get all the smoke eventually. Like they say, all the smoke, bro. And you don't want that kind of smoke. You know, like we say in the hood, you don't want this, you don't want none of this, son. You know, you don't know me, son, you know, and you don't want to know, because if you see how powerful you can be away from your fear, you know, away from your scared tendencies, away from your escapism, right? Then you're going to be the type of person to be like, I can face anything. I can face South Korean prison. I can face business bankruptcy. I can face broken relationships. And you need to be strong enough to see yourself on the other side. Good morning. I'm waving at them. They didn't even see me. And that's what it is. You can't even see you. And to really see yourself happy, again, I asked Lily, 10 years in the future, what does Lily look like? She looks like a successful entrepreneur. She's married. She has a relationship. She's doing all these things to improve her life and her happiness. It's not that she has to have babies. She knows it will complete the cycle of the parents that she was missing. These are the things that we start seeking. We start seeking that charcoal. We start seeking those mango leaves. We start seeking escapism, because we're looking for relief. Our tummies hurt. I don't blame you, bro. But drink some water. Chew the charcoal. Take some vitamins. Get some exercise. It's all these things and then some. And then we keep giving it up instead of being in the sun. And that's where I get it from. I'm not holding anything back. It's not, I promise you, it's not just the weed. It's the early risings. It's the late nights, early mornings. It's the exercise from yesterday, even though it was in the rain. I still went and got my fucking endorphins, baby. And that's what we'll do. Scurry to our next little foxhole. find another excuse, find another way why we can't be in development and maturity and self examination. We'd rather run and hide and go be in somebody else's masturbation or frustration or distraction. That seems to be the biggest thing. So no, as soon as it gets painful, what do I do? Well, you can't run to the drugs anymore because now you're getting sober, and there's a very painful process of all the emotions. I feel this way about pills. When you take pills, sure, you kill the pain, but it's stacking literally in your brain because you're putting blockers on your receptors, and when those blockers go away, the receptors have to uptake, and that means uptake all of the pain that you've been suppressing plus the current pain, and you have to go past that to get to the real shine. Come on, there it goes. Blow those clouds away and give me some real shine, baby. There it goes. There she goes. Ooh, come out that cloud. Make the sun shine. Warm my soul. And that's where I get it. I get it from the source, homie. I got the best plug, homie. I got healthy, and that's the real plug. It's not a Taibo class. It's not a spiritual retreat. It's not a 6-step course. It's none of those things. It's literally getting the other things that weren't really happy, that weren't really shine, and saying, you don't work for me anymore. You know what I mean? You don't work here anymore. And that's what you got to say. You got to fire some of your habits, baby. You got to say, you don't work here no more. And when it doesn't have a place to dock, and you stop ingesting the poisons, and you start to get sober, then you realize that you've been running. You've been running from thought to thought, emotion to emotion, and situation to situation, instead of establishing a colony, establishing a fortress, and building the wall around the castle. You built a wall to keep yourself inside. Instead of going outside and going to get it, you now suppressed it and decided to sit and be sedated. Not a good solution. It doesn't work for anybody. And that's where depression comes from. That's where anxiety comes from. And that's where fear comes from, because you're not believing in yourself. You fear the moment someone takes away your beer. You fear the moment someone takes away your cigarette. My buddy was rolling a cigarette at the bar. And my buddy was really fast, and he took his cigarette. Hey, give it back. It was like watching 5-year-olds snatch toys from each other. These are grown-ass men. These are grown-ass men that are fighting over cigarettes. So the homie rolled another cigarette, and then when he rolled another one, my buddy snatched it again. If it's snatchable, it's not real. You can take my house, you can take my money, but you can't take my happiness. You can't stop my shine. And this is Nelson Mandela time. This is, even though I'm in prison, look at the backyard. I got witnesses. Even if you're in prison, like Nelson Mandela was, you can't imprison his mind. Do you feel that? You can't take away his shine. And even though he walked around, he still respected the guards. The guards still respected him. And he walked around like he was not in prison, but in his castle, in his mind castle. So I don't know if you've been in prison for 30 years in South Africa, but that's inspirational, bro. To be, that's the ultimate. Where someone can't come over and fuck your shit. Where they can't come over and just talk some shit or make you feel insignificant. You know what your worth is. Everybody's like, I know my worth, but they don't act the top of their worth. Good morning. They don't act like their higher self. They're over there degrading. And I'm gonna try to grab some more flowers. Good morning. And that's what it is. It's one of those things where all of us, good morning. You have a good morning. Yes. Yeah, good morning, good morning. Good morning. I'm gonna say hi to these people. They're so cute. Walk your dog in the morning. Look at the dog wants to play. But I'm gonna go to the flowers today. Look, they're all bundled up. That's so beautiful. Let him take his photos. Perfect. Ihana. I'm gonna go get some flowers. I've already plucked 3, and let's see if these flowers want to bloom today. That's what it's like after the winter, after the storms, after all the rain. You're gonna have to come out and say, I want to bloom. I want to show my roots. I want to be the type of person that can, through everything, even through cold weather, I'm still going to give it some bulbs. I'm still going to find a way to sprout. I'm still going to find a way to shine. I'm still going to find a way to bloom and blossom my life. This is what sobriety looks like. You know, the ability to hear the birds in the trees, the ability to stop and look at the flowers grow, and an ability to handle life with stability. Imagine that. Saint's addiction. You know what I mean? Like, I had to take my addictions and turn them into my sainthoods. You know, I had to take that thing that made me feel not okay. You know, like Mike Tyson was saying, I would buy all these things because then people would like me. They would like my house. They would like my car, and then they would like me. And then they wouldn't think that I was weird, or my thoughts were weird, or who I truly am. And he was talking to Bozy, and Bozy was like, that's why you wear all them chains. That's why you act like you don't give a fuck. That's why you're flexing all the time, is because you don't want people to know the real you. So if you're felt judged and you're always at the whims of somebody else, then that's what you'll be. You'll be like, oh no, they're judging me, or they don't see me, or what if they really see me? Then they won't like me, right? There's been plenty of times where I go, I don't have any friends, and I'm like, that's just not true, you know? Or I'm lonely and I need somebody. I need myself. I need myself to go to the gym. And if I needed somebody, I might meet them there. You know, I just helped myself by going to a different grocery store. I just helped myself by breaking the pattern. That's what this is about. It's about pattern breaking. And that's what Saint's Addiction came from, was like, I'm only going to get a business that reinforces me to travel Europe and all over the world if I had belief and strategy. You know what I mean? It's not just enough to believe, but the strategy was to see what I was like and what I was capable of when I'm not in prison, when I'm not addicted, when I'm not giving myself excuses. What does that monster look like? And he was a monster. You know, I went in as a man, but I came out a monster. And that's what this is. This is beast mode shit right here. You know, this is like, okay, I'm gonna beast the fuck up. Watch me I've been working, like my buddy just showed me. He was like, I've been working out for the last 6 months. And he's like buffing, took off his shirt. And I'm like, damn, son, you look just like your son. You know, and he did. He looked a lot like his kid. And I've been seeing his photos and everything because he posted it. He's like, look at Uriah. Uriah's been working out, da-da-da-da-da-da. And I'm like, yeah, Uriah looks really good. And then he takes his shirt off because he's been working out, you know, LVAC, Las Vegas Athletic Club. And guess what he says? He's like, I feel good. You know, he's flexing on it. And I'm like, dude, you look just like your kid. So that's what you're going to do. While he was smoking a cigarette, I was like, bro, quit the cigarettes. So he's still working out, but he hasn't stopped one of his addictions. He hasn't stopped some of the anti-shine. And that's what it is. You know, just take off the shine blockers. It's kind of like it puts the lotion on. You know, if you're always going to have, what's the kind of thing it's called? Sunblock, right? It's literally called sunblock. You're literally putting on sunblock. And instead of absorbing the rays and getting a tan and surfing the waves, you're over there on the beach covering yourself with white solution and staying under your umbrella and never going in the water because it's dangerous in there. And I'm like, that's where all the fun is, man. All the fun is in the adventure of figuring out who you are, what you're made out of, and how capable you are for this life. And that's what it was. I wanted to be an international business magnate. Guess what? That means I have to go through a lot of suffering and a lot of loss to make me a boss. So that way, when it is time to start businesses, people trust me that I'm not going to run away from it. You know what I mean? They call me, even though I haven't talked to them in a long time, even though I'm over here in Finland and I'm in Europe, they still call me asking for shirts. Now, they could have fucking called someone else. They could have done another outsource, but they call your boy Saint. And I was just like, I built a business. I have repeat customers. I have referrals. It almost made me cry. I was just like, man, this universe will never let me down. And as $1,000 cleared in my account from the last $20 that I spent on groceries last night, I'm back up to my thousandaire self. You know what I mean? And they say most people never keep $1,000 in their pocket. I know why. I'd be spending all my money. That's no lie. But it's also one of those things where it was just like, you know, I had to come up with financial, discipline. And I also had to come up with physical discipline. So there's your financial, your physical, and then it'll be your emotional. So this is where I come up with it. This is how I got sober. This is Saint's Addiction. And this is my morning mo. motivation. If you got anything out of this, you already know to like, share, and subscribe below. And as always, there's the peace, there's the love, and there's Chigaton. That means goodbye, but not forever in Finnish. And I'm actually in Finland, so I will see you on the other side as soon as you like, share, and subscribe. But the other side of your fears, the other side of your excuses, and the other side of the world, because that's where I'll be, and I am. Peace.